I don't need incompetence. Choose between being fired or demoted, huh?
That's what my boss, Steven, said as he gave me those two options. He has been manipulating his subordinates until now, indirectly harassing them. But this time, because I opposed his views, it seems he lost his temper. Instead of harassing me in his usual way, he came directly at me with verbal abuse. However, he doesn't know that it was all set up. Later, as I was being berated, the president, Ashley, appeared before me.
Stephen, I can't just ignore the abusive words you just uttered. What was your intention with that statement? Don't give me any poor excuses like I misheard.
Why is the president here?
With the arrival of Ashley, Stephen turned pale, facing the hell that was about to unfold. He had no chance against the revenge we had prepared over time. My name is Michael Jordan. I'm a man in my 40s, working in a food company. I'm just an ordinary guy, nothing stand out about me. If I had to pick one thing I'm good at, it'd be memorization. Back in my school days, I think this strength really saved me. I scored pretty well in subjects that relied on memorization. But that's about all I'm good at.
Michael, you always say you're just average, but I don't think that's true at all.
Right. Michael, you study at such a prestigious school, don't you?
People often tell me I'm not as ordinary as I think, but I see myself as just a regular person. So, I decided to really nail memorization, continually pursuing the tricks to remembering things. As a working adult, this effort has paid off, and it still comes in handy.
Michael is really good at teaching others. The material has become much easier to remember than before.
Your explanations are so clear. I remembered everything in no time. You should really go into training roles.
Now, I use these skills to look after my colleagues. That's my role. I'm not in a managerial position, but I'm relied on by many employees. Lately, I've been busy with sales, which got me noticed by Steven, the manager of the sales department.
Michael is always doing a great job. I'm counting on you to keep it up.
That's what he says in public, but behind my back, it seems he's bad-mouthing me. My colleagues have seen Steven talking badly about me at the bar. Steven became the sales manager a few years ago. Apparently, he landed his current role through connections, as his parents were executives.
It seems he was from a different department, but he pushed his way into this position.
Got tired of working hard or something and begged for it. Terrible reason, right?
That's what my colleagues gossip about. Steven is decent at his job, but has a terrible personality. I don't think he's the right person to be in a leadership position, because he harasses people he dislikes. And he does it in a particularly cowardly way, by manipulating others to do the dirty work. So, even when Steven's misdeeds have come to light, he's managed to pin it all on his subordinates. Honestly, I can't think of him as anything but a terrible person, but the company's higher-ups protect him, so it's been hard to get rid of him. Lately, being on Steven's radar has put me in a tough situation. A June morning, in the humid air of the beginning of the summer season, I head to work. Driving my beloved car, I arrive at the company, which is fairly large. On the surface, it seems like we're doing well in terms of performance. But management was shaky until recently, so we can't be too complacent. This was because the previous president suddenly resigned due to illness, and the woman who took over was new to the job. It was tough to turn the company around, but the current president has worked tirelessly. Despite opposition from various quarters about leaving the company in the hands of a woman, she has continued to deliver results. With such a hardworking president, I can't afford to get down about having a nasty boss. I need to really buckle down and give it my all. Standing in front of the company building, I paused to firm up my resolve before stepping in. Good morning. Worried that someone might have heard me talking to myself, I still greeted the person passing by. Blushing slightly, I boarded the elevator to go up, heading to my office where I work. Opening the door to the sales department, I greeted my colleagues as I made my way to my desk. There, I couldn't help but hold my head in despair, because my desk was littered with trash. I looked toward Stephen, a likely suspect. But he was feigning ignorance, reading the newspaper. Sighing inwardly, I grabbed the cleaning supplies and started picking up the trash. Lately, my mornings have always been like this. This started happening 2 months ago. After an employee previously harassed by Stephen resigned. That lousy manager, probably bored without a target, likely considers harassment a hobby. Indeed, glancing from the corner of my eye, I saw him smirking at me. There's no way I can chalk this up to bad luck. This all started with a lottery Stephen forced upon us. He has a peculiar rule where the loser of the draw endures harassment, making everyone in the office participate twice a year. As a result, I ended up as the current target. Out of the 4 draws held so far, 1 person left due to mental distress, and another simply couldn't stand it and left the company. It's outrageous, but talking to the higher-ups gets us nowhere. We had no idea how to stop this foolish behavior. For now, I quickly finished cleaning up the trash. Thankfully, today there were no derogatory stickers like uneducated or useless, so the task was easier. Although I'm well educated, Stephen seems to think I'm not. Correcting him probably wouldn't convince him, so I've left him with his misunderstanding. However, dealing with such stickers is troublesome. He chooses particularly sticky duct tape to make sure they're a hassle to remove, which was a pain. So today, being able to just clean my desk was somewhat of a relief. After cleaning, I focused on my work, and time flew by quickly. Before I knew it, it was almost break time. Is it that time already? Today went by fast since I didn't get bogged down with any trivial tasks. Usually, Stephen would use people for odd jobs, but thankfully that didn't happen today. Until the break, I decided to research the client company I'm currently handling online. Their products, their concept, backstories related to product development, and marketing strategies. I input various pieces of information. As someone who must ensure the company's profits through sales, I can't just talk about our own company's needs if I want to make a good impression. To pique their interest, first, I need to understand and reach out to them. It takes time, but that's my way of building trust.
I'm really glad to have you, Michael, handling our account. You understand our company's situation and our products well, which makes it easier to finalize our agreements.
I often receive such compliments from business partners. It makes me genuinely happy and motivates me to continue working diligently. While pondering these thoughts, a colleague of mine approached me. His name is Jake Austin. He's from my generation, and has been my associate since we both started at this company.
It must be tough dealing with Steven's harassment every day. Want me to share some of my homemade lunch?
He had brought his own lunch and sat down next to me at the empty seat. As it was now break time, it seemed that the regular occupant of that seat had probably headed to the cafeteria. Sitting next to me, Jake started a conversation while picking at his lunch with his dining fork.
Ever since Steven showed up, the atmosphere in this office has been consistently gloomy. It's even dampening our spirits.
He, too, had once been a target of harassment due to the lottery. However, thanks to his naturally optimistic character, he had managed to overcome it.
I wish I could have switched places with you, but there's no way to swap someone else's draw. Times like these, I wish we could use magic like in animes or comics.
Just a thought is enough, buddy. Luckily, he usually gets bored after about 6 months, so the end is in sight. If we can endure until then, we win. His supportive words made me feel a bit relieved. Employees in our office generally try to keep their distance from those being harassed, so having a casual chat like this lightened my mood. Loneliness can be crushing, so knowing that someone cares about you is comforting. His next topic of conversation, showing compassion, was about dealing with Steven's harassment. Holding his neck and speaking in a thoroughly exasperated tone, he continued,
I wish the boss would just cut it out. Is he planning to drive everyone out of our department? I wish we could find a way to handle him.
That's when I noticed a bruise on his hand. It looks painful, though I didn't know where he got it. Did you hit it somewhere?
Nah, it's nothing serious. Just got it from a scuffle with an untrained pup.
A pup? You don't have pets at home, though, I replied, knowing his family situation. He uses that kind of talk when he's trying to dodge the subject. Curious about what happened, but realizing it might be something he doesn't want to discuss, I decided not to pry. Well, whatever the reason, just be careful not to hurt yourself any worse.
I know.
His always positive demeanor makes it hard to tell what he really feels. But there's no doubt he's a kind guy. If he's in trouble, I want to be there to help. Right then, as if on cue, an announcement over the PA system called me to a conference room. Naturally, having no idea why I was called, I was puzzled. When I got to the conference room, there was a woman waiting for me. Her name is Ashley Simpson. She's the head of the food company where I work. Though she looks her age in her 60s, her actions always carry the vigor of a younger person. We're relatives through my parents, so we meet occasionally, but we're not particularly close. Just more interaction than most people would have. I wonder what Ashley needs from me. Upon closer inspection, she was holding a cooling patch. Worried she might be hurt, she started talking before I could ask.
I was just tending to someone who got injured. I'm fine, so no worries. Sorry to take up your valuable break time.
She quickly put away the cooling patch and apologized.
I've heard from other employees that there seem to be problems in your department,
Ashley said with a determined look and a stern face. There must be a lot on her mind as the head of the company, but today her voice seemed even firmer than usual.
Just now, I received a call from an employee in your department. It seems that the staff is being troubled by the manager's behavior. I won't ask why this was allowed to go on until it got to this point. There must have been various reasons, right?
Her words left me speechless. It's not that my colleagues and I have overlooked Stephen's misconduct. We have reported the manager's misdeeds to the higher-ups several times. But each time, it was covered up, and gradually we started to give up. Looking down in despair, I heard Ashley's voice, filled with resolve.
I know it might not seem credible to speak of positions and situations, but I want you to trust me,
said Ashley, placing a hand on my shoulder, considering my feelings.
We have a plan to bring down Stephen.
Really?
Yes, but my cards aren't perfect yet. I'll need you to bear with it a little longer, but keep hoping.
Yes, of course. I had tried to act several times before, but all attempts had failed. I was nearing the point of resignation, but it seems there's still something that can be done.
I'll tell you what you can do to call out Stephen's actions right here, right now. Please listen carefully.
Holding on to hope, I listened intently to Ashley's words. Later, I continued the discussion with Ashley. Months later, the plan we developed in consultation with Ashley was smoothly cornering Stephen. He was unaware that his days at the company were numbered. It was tough convincing my colleagues to become allies, since I felt insecure doing this alone. But with Jake's help, we managed it. Now, all we have to do is wait for Stephen to slip up. Despite feeling anxious, today I was reviewing the documents used in a business meeting at my desk. I had just wrapped up the negotiations at a client's office a few hours ago and wanted to organize my thoughts. This negotiation involves a lot of detailed conditions, so I need to organize them. While I was doing that, Jake happened to pass by and struck up a conversation.
Looks tough. You planning to memorize all the content again this time?
Yeah, that's all I've got going for me.
You're always too hard on yourself. I have a lot to say, but well, good luck.
After hearing my words, he shrugged his shoulders and quickly left. We're still on the clock, so we can't have a long chat. As I watched him walk away, I refocused on my thoughts. This time, our company has decided to launch a collaborative product with the help of our client company. However, it must not turn into a situation where both companies hinder each other. Therefore, detailed specifications have been determined for the product's name, color, and shape to avoid tarnishing the image of both companies. It's always tough to check these details, but I've committed to thoroughly reviewing them to the end. While I was doing this, Stephen approached me.
I hate to spring this on you out of the blue, but
he said with a smirk, giving me a bad feeling. Whether he knew what I was thinking or not, he continued speaking.
The deal you were handling will now be managed by me. You've worked hard until now.
Stephen took the documents I was holding. Since the deal was just finalized today, he probably intends to take all the credit. He must have been planning to approach me at this time for a while. In fact, other colleagues have been replaced in their roles using the same tactic by Stephen. As he glanced at me with disdain, he curved his lips into a smile.
Michael, isn't your only skill just memorizing things? It's better if I handle this deal rather than you continuing.
Saying this, he placed his hand on my shoulder, pressing down as if to exert pressure. Feeling the force on my shoulder, I frowned.
Don't worry. You should just peacefully handle the deals that suit you.
Doesn't he understand that it's not so simple to just switch the person in charge of a deal? especially since this deal was taken over from an employee who quit 2 months ago. He seems unable to imagine what the other party thinks about such frequent changes in personnel. I must say, Stephen, this kind of thing is not appropriate.
What? Are you talking back to me?
Although Stephen seemed in a good mood, his voice now had a threatening tone, but I continued regardless. I wanted to provoke him into showing his harassment clearly. Until now, he had manipulated people, left trash on desks, and posted derogatory notes, but these were too weak as evidence. Changing hands frequently will damage our credibility. As a manager, can't you understand that? So I deliberately chose provocative words to speak to him. Stephen took the bait immediately.
What do I care? If I say I'll do it, I'll do it. If there's someone else who can handle it, it doesn't have to stay with them. More competent people should handle the work.
Just because someone else can replace a person doesn't mean it's okay to frequently change hands. Work is not just about numbers and profits. Deals and contracts run smoothly only when both parties build trust. If the person in charge changes frequently due to self-centered actions, the other party will surely become suspicious. Stephen, his face turning red, kicked my desk forcefully.
Anyone who defies me has no place in this department. There are plenty who can replace you. Someone who can only memorize things.
He delivered a definitive statement to me.
Incompetence is unacceptable. Choose between being fired or demoted,
At that moment, he declared that he would discard any subordinate who doesn't comply with his demands.
I will make an example of anyone who obstructs me.
Stephen yelled and ranted right in front of me, deciding the future of his subordinates based on his personal whims. It seems he is not qualified to lead people. I disliked the idea of being fired, so I told him I preferred demotion to calm him down. That settled things for the moment, but it seemed Stephen still couldn't stand me. From the next day, he began to verbally abuse me directly. He came to my desk first thing in the morning and started hurling insults.
Someone useless like you just needs to follow my orders. I can have you transferred far away or even fired.
His lecture, occasionally kicking the desk, ended abruptly. Because Ashley arrived. The timing seemed measured, but it was no coincidence. She had been waiting for Stephen to show his true colors, regularly checking the surveillance footage. She looked at Stephen and spoke coldly.
Stephen, I can't ignore what you just said. What did you mean by that? Don't make poor excuses like I misheard.
Why is the president here?
Naturally, Stephen was flustered and turned pale. As Ashley looked at him with a look of disbelief, she spoke, glancing at the negotiation documents on my desk.
You don't seem to accurately assess the capabilities of your subordinates.
What?
Taking a moment, Ashley spoke in a different tone. Her harsh words probably meant to corner Stephen.
If Michael is not here, the company would go bankrupt.
What?
After a pause, Ashley looked at Stephen with disdain. He may disdain others, but he has never experienced the reverse. Stephen visibly began to feel flustered.
Michael is a well-respected employee. Many of our clients have signed contracts because of his personality. If he were to leave, it would darken the future of this company.
That's absurd. How can the future of the company depend on such an employee?
What you think is irrelevant. This is the truth. If you want to call it a lie, why don't you handle the deal yourself? I'm sure you won't be able to fill his shoes, and the contract would just end up being terminated.
Ashley continued with stern words while looking straight at Stephen. While she thrust the document from my desk at him, she challenged him.
Can you memorize all the products our business partners handle? What about the details of their services? If you can memorize everything about the company's philosophy and website content from end to end, then fine.
Seeing the document filled with various information, Stephen's eyes widened. It seemed like the first time he truly understood what kind of documents his subordinates were preparing.
There's no way I can do that. Memorize a document that's densely packed from edge to edge.
Right? That's why you can't replace Michael.
Stephen was left speechless, just opening and closing his mouth. In his stead, Ashley looked at the desk that had been kicked. She then patted my shoulder in a comforting manner. With a saddened expression, she looked at me and said, "You've had it tough." From Ashley, I could feel a compassion that Stephen entirely lacked. Turning back to Stephen, Ashley sighed.
I have things to say about your verbal abuse of subordinates, but there's also the matter of you raising your hand to those working in this office. We need to conduct a thorough investigation into your conduct at work.
I tilted my head at her words, as they contained information I hadn't heard before. It was supposed to be impossible for Stephen to physically assault his subordinates, but perhaps someone had been harmed. As I silently observed the situation, Stephen, who had been listening to Ashley, suddenly raised his voice.
Are you sane? I have worked for this company for many years.
The fact that you have worked here a long time does not excuse you from doing things that are fundamentally wrong as a person. If tenure mattered in such cases, then all hard-working people across the world would never be fired for committing crimes, would they?
Stephen was left speechless by Ashley's cold logic. Losing the ability to argue, he glared at me. Then, perhaps trying to escape his predicament, he began to divert the topic.
I was merely trying to eliminate unnecessary people from the company. I thought Michael wasn't very useful, so I decided it would be better to replace him with a more capable employee. Besides, he's poorly educated. It's natural to think so. It's just a sad misunderstanding.
However, Ashley sharply cut him off.
Poorly educated? He graduated top of his class from Harvard University. Didn't you know that?
How could that be?
Do you think I'm lying?
If he were a Harvard valedictorian, he would have promoted himself. It's impossible he wouldn't mention it himself.
Faced with Ashley's steady gaze, Stephen realized it was the truth. The shock he received seems to have left him speechless. He just stared at me, his lips trembling. After a moment, Ashley added a comment to ensure no disrespect to those with less formal education.
Do you think you can do whatever you want to employees with a high school diploma or poor sales records? Allow their work tools to be destroyed or use people to harass them? That's a foolish notion. A leader must treat all subordinates equally, otherwise, no one will follow you.
Well, that may be true, but...
Stephen muttered, his words trailing off as he cast his gaze around. No longer the tyrant who had reigned over the sales department.
Still not satisfied? If your performance is worse than other department heads, then you wouldn't complain about what happens to you, right?
As Ashley spoke, Stephen trembled, his eyes darting around.
Didn't your parents teach you not to do to others what you wouldn't want done to you?
Turning away from the pitiful sight of Stephen, Ashley looked towards me, perhaps no longer wanting to bear the sight of his disgrace. With her back still turned to Stephen, Ashley spoke to me.
Stephen's orders can be ignored. Can you continue the transactions just as before?
Understood.
There are many tasks only you can handle, so I'm counting on you. The person in charge of the transaction has specifically requested you, so it can't be helped.
After that conversation, Stephen forcefully interrupted, probably thinking it would be problematic if the conversation continued. With a pained cry, he pleaded with Ashley.
Please forgive me. I will change my ways and work harder. It was just a slip this time. I didn't mean what I said.
You expect me to believe the words of someone who routinely harasses their subordinates? You're still lying even now, saying it wasn't from your heart.
No, I haven't lied.
Looking down at the pleading Stephen, Ashley then signaled me with her gaze. She was asking me to present the evidence. Receiving her look, I showed her the screen of my smartphone. It detailed all of Stephen's harassment. Dates, times, exactly what was said. Stephen probably never thought my ability to memorize would turn against him like this. Crushed by despair, he collapsed right there. But his hell was far from over.
Ashley, if it's okay, you can use this diary as well.
It contains detailed records of the times I was forced to harass others under Stephen's orders. I have written it all down.
Of course, I've been writing too. Look, Michael, I'm not sure if it's written well, so could you check if this is okay?
Yes, it's fine. In fact, after planning with Ashley, I convinced my colleagues to keep a detailed diary of the harassment orchestrated by Stephen. The dozens of diaries submitted at this moment prove that the effort Jake and I put in was worthwhile. With so much evidence, the executives can't help but cut Stephen loose. Ashley seems to want to address those executives eventually, but that's a hope for the future.
Although I turned a blind eye before, Michael made me realize that ignoring it was wrong.
We thought we needed to do something too.
As the evidence continued to gather, Jake spoke with a proud expression.
I won't let you say that memorization is your only skill anymore. You have a great ability to move people's hearts. Don't be too hard on yourself. That might be why Stephen misunderstood your education.
I scratched my head, feeling a bit embarrassed. Seeing their compassion warmed my heart gradually. Afterwards, Ashley took the stunned Stephen to the conference room. When she returned, she explained what would happen next to us.
The formal investigation will be conducted later, but I intend to thoroughly investigate what has been happening.
With that, she apologized to the sales team and promised a better environment from now on.
I'm sorry for overlooking things until now. From now on, I plan to make this a better workplace for you all, so please don't give up on this company.
Despite not being able to act like this before, I wondered how she could now take a stand. May I ask why you were able to take action against Stephen this time? Curious, I waited as Ashley revealed her reasons.
Recently, it seems your colleague was hit and injured.
Ashley said, directing her gaze towards Jake. I was reminded of a memory from a few months ago. Indeed, Jake had a bruise on his neck back then. Was that because of some trouble with Stephen?
Jake reported to me that he had obtained conclusive evidence. Stephen had acted in a way that is unbecoming of his position, so we thought to use this as evidence.
Later, when they checked the surveillance cameras inside the office, they had recorded the incident. Apparently, even the executives couldn't cover for him once the incident was captured on camera. That's how we were able to corner Stephen.
I protested several times that it was wrong to determine the target for harassment by drawing lots, which made Stephen snap at me. I was retaliated against, but that incident actually helped set the stage for revenge.
Jake, did you do all that for me? I'm sorry I didn't notice your injury.
It's fine. I didn't do it to be thanked.
Seeing his bright, smiling face, I truly realized how lucky I was to have such a good colleague. And it was because Stephen had taken actions detrimental to the company that Ashley was able to execute her next move in the counter strategy. It seems my sales performance was well known among the upper management. He tried to usurp my work, which couldn't be overlooked. Ultimately, Stephen was dismissed from the company. For raising his hand to a subordinate, a disciplinary dismissal. He immediately tried to get hired at various companies, but apparently it wasn't going well. The last time I saw him on the street, his cheeks were hollowed out. He seemed to be under considerable stress, but it was a situation of his own making. Nevertheless, undeterred, he kept calling our company, trying to appeal for re-employment.
You must think that work has been backlogged since I left. That's why I'm offering to work again. Why won't you just listen to me?
He was mistaken in thinking that his presence was necessary, but that was not the case. Even without Stephen, we were managing just fine. That's why no one bothered with him. Ignored, he gradually stopped calling and completely disappeared from our lives. Where he is or what he's doing now, I do not know. But he is undoubtedly having a tough time. On the other hand, our performance improved after Stephen left. With fewer occasions for stress, employees were able to work more freely and comfortably. The executive who had been protecting Stephen was also dismissed from the company by a decisive act from Ashley, which cleansed the office environment.
Michael, how are the documents over there?
I'll check them. I've learned the ropes from Michael.
With brighter faces and a better atmosphere in the department, it's unlikely that employees will suffer due to someone's misdeeds any longer. Yet holding a title can change a person easily. Jake, if you're running low on notebooks, do you want to use mine?
Yeah, thanks, that's thoughtful. Guess you still need plenty of them for all your memorization, huh?
Yeah, I go through dozens of pages a day and they're essential. When teaching or assisting someone, I make sure not to become arrogant. If you treat people condescendingly, it will eventually come back to haunt you. We in the sales department continue to work diligently, reminding ourselves not to become like Stephen.